so many faces for this episode about rain gardens in Sweden. Well, we talked with Fredrik and Agatha, that will present later, but it might be nice to know who we are, especially maybe for the questions afterwards. So we have two short presentations. Shall we start with a short introduction? Just say your name and who you are. And I start then with Sydney, because he can explain what we're doing every week in the Climate Cafe. Over to you, Sydney. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm Sydney Stacks. I'm working for the municipality of Nijmegen at the Department of Engineering and Spatial Planning. I have a background in both ecology and technical water management. I'm working on bioswales and rain gardens for over 7 years now, and I'm doing this together with Floris Bogart for over 4 years already.
Nice.
Yes.
And then maybe to speed it up, shall I go to Thomas? Because basically it's your fault that we're sitting here with Swedish people, Thomas. Why is this?
Well, I'll take the blame. Yes, Thomas Klomp. I'm an independent worker, but I work for the National Delta Program and for some collaborating municipalities on urban rainwater, sewage, and climate adaptation. And I travel a lot for taking photographs, and I want to see how the world reacts on climate change. So once I flew over a swale with my drone, and somehow the video got viral in Sweden, and that's how I connected with Frederik. And I once was in Stockholm, and we met, and he showed me around. And Agatha was in my network as well, and we spoke earlier about how to do some monitoring, and we have the same passion for climate adaptation and rainwater, so that's how we met. And so I thought, well, this is a nice thing to discuss in the Climate Cafe.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for that, of course. So now I will just follow my screen, skipping Fredrik and Agatha because they will speak later. So Lars, with a very nice background for everyone who's bored, just change your background to a very nice rain garden. Lars, floor is yours.
I'm Lars Emers. I'm a project advisor, climate adaptation for the Netherlands. And I go through all Netherlands to advise and to help with projects.
Nice. Thanks a lot, and nice you're here. Then we go to the province of Friesland with Sietske.
Sietske Hoekstra. I worked at the province of Friesland in flood protection and spatial planning. And now I work mostly on water management on agricultural grounds.
Nice. Thanks a lot. Then we go to Dinne.
Ik ben Dinne, I'm consultant of the Joosten Group. I'm working for the Department Innovation, Sustainability and Consultancy. I manage the questions about all the applications, what's coming in, and I work for contractors, municipalities, clients, and we're doing designing in climate adaptive demand. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks a lot. Then we go to Jack.
I'm Jack Dennis. I'm R&D manager for the firm at TBS SVA, and we're working in the Netherlands, and I'm developing small concrete rain gardens, and I'm really interested in making combinations with green and water treatment, and that kind of daylight. I'm very interested in the presentation which you give.
Nice. Thanks you're here. Then we go to Sjoerd. Oh, muting.
Yes, my name is Sjoerd. I'm working at a company called Bureau Stedenbouw in the field, actually in between urban planning and landscape design. I studied in Sweden for half a year, and briefly I was a colleague of Thomas very shortly.
Nice. Good ending. Yeah, and then we go to Raimondo.
Yes, I'm Raimondo Osloot. I'm advisor of water and climate adaptation at the municipality of Assen.
Beautiful Assen. Yeah, great you're here. Ilko?
Yes, my name is Ilko Verschelling. I'm a senior researcher on the topic of climate adaptation at Hanze University, the group of Floris. I started there September last year, and maybe a link. Before that, I actually lived in Sweden for some time. So I lived there for a bit over 2 years. So it was a very nice experience. I have a background in civil engineering, and I did my PhD on a slightly different topic: river morphology, tidal freshwater wetlands, climate change.
Nice.
Where did you live?
I lived in a small town to the northwest of Stockholm. Not every Swede knows it, but it's called Bålsta. Bålsta.
Oh yeah. We know it.
Yeah, that's
It's close. Yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
it's close to Stockholm. Yeah.
Great. And at the end of the Climate Cafe, we get back to you, Ilko, about the 4 episodes that we're going to do after this one. So then we go to Jennifer.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Jennifer van Dijk. I'm an advisor for environmental friendly investments. It's a nationwide fiscal scheme. It's for entrepreneurs who invest in environmental friendly technologies. They can get a tax benefit. And I'm mainly advisor and evaluating the investments on the climate adaptation part. So that's my connection. I know Floris and Thomas very well. And as a side note, because I see many connections with Sweden, I'm also having passion for water. I'm actually coming over to Visby on the International Hanseatic Days, early June. So perhaps see you there. I'm traveling with a medieval kogge, by the way.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah. I feel a lot of enthusiasm. This is going to be a field trip for all of us.
Definitely.
No. Okay. Yeah, okay. And then probably last but not least, Nora Panadanko. There she is. Yeah.
Yes, hi. I'm Nora Danko. I'm listening from Antwerp, Belgium. And I work for the municipality of Antwerp as an advisor on climate adaptation. We are trying to make citizens and companies and organizations enthusiastic about climate resilient investments. But at the moment, this has been my second webinar in 6 months because I have long COVID, I'm sick. But I saw just half an hour ago and I thought maybe I will try to join, but I'm not sure if I can concentrate so long, so I'll see.
Okay, really nice you're here. And of course, from all of us, get better soon. And
Thank you.
Yeah, great. And you make it really international, of course. And I think we have a bit of a, feeling of who's here. It's a bit of a triple helix, maybe private, public, academic, education, and we're all citizens. So I think it's quite a broad audience for Agatha and Frederik. And if I understand correctly, Agatha, you're gonna start?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think the floor is yours to
Thank you
introduce
so
yourself and the
much.
topic. Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Agatha Velin. I work as a stormwater management expert at Nacka Municipality. We have a department that is called Nature and Urban Environment. So all the municipal resources that works with landscaping, nature, and water are together under one department supporting the whole organization with everything from ecosystem services to detailed design and construction of wetlands, ponds, or rain gardens. So the whole spectrum. And we also work with improving the existing public spaces. Frederik, you want to introduce yourself first?
No, I can do it when I do my presentation.
All right, sure. Then I will share my screen. And unfortunately, I won't be able to see you.
We will be your eyes then. If something happens, we notify you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thanks. So today I was invited to tell you more about how we in Nacka have been working with implementing rain gardens or rain beds or blue and green infrastructure. There are many different names of more or less the same thing. First, I want to tell you some few words about Nacka. Nacka is situated just 10 minutes from Stockholm, east from Stockholm. We have about 110,000 citizens. And at the moment, we are building out a new metro line that will connect Nacka with Stockholm. And we are getting 3 new metro stations. And as a part of an agreement that the municipality made with the government was that we have to create many new houses and many new working places until 2035. And like I say, Nacka is surrounded by water. As you can see, we have over 40 lakes. See if I can switch. And of course, we try to work with the stormwater in a sustainable way. And we have some stormwater guidelines that we are following in all our projects. And those guidelines, we have both guidelines, but also examples for how you can manage stormwater on private properties and in public spaces. We also gave clear dimensioning standards that needs to be followed to secure both water quality and runoff. And we describe 3 different levels of stormwater management, where the first level is that everybody has to handle the first 10 millimeters of every rain event through using rain gardens. Then we have the piping systems, where the utility service company has to secure 30-year rain event runoff. And then the municipality, the third level, the municipality is responsible for securing secondary runoff during up to 100-year rain event. And these guidelines are mainly used in new developments or larger reconstruction projects. So we don't have the same guidelines when it comes to existing areas and existing developments. And when we integrate blue and green infrastructure, we dimension them to manage the first 10 millimeters of rain, and that can be compared with an average Swedish rain that is 7.3 millimeters, which means that we can treat 97% of the yearly runoff. And as I mentioned earlier, this has to be followed both within public space and on private property. So we are following up the developers, and we are a part during the design process of public spaces. So we are there and active in securing that those guidelines are reached. And during the last years, we have tried to develop 2 types of rain beds. The first example is those open rainbeds where the detention volume has to be able to be stored on top of the substrate, on top of the soil. So we don't calculate the volume that is available in the soil and the substrate. So we have tried to make it easy for the consultants to make the calcs, like, yeah, you have the catchment area, the runoff coefficient, and you take that times 10 millimeters, and then you have a volume on top. So we have really tried to make it simple. And the second one is this grid-covered rainbed, where we have the detention volume under the grid here. So those are quite deep, and below we have a sand filter. And what we have also tried to do in those larger redevelopment project where we have very high traffic intensity is to separate the water from the sidewalk and bike path. This water is drained into these airing wells, into a structural soil that surrounds every tree. So there is about 20 cubic meters of structural soil. And the structural soil contains of macadam, quite large fractions, that are mixed with the soil. And the more polluted water from the road section, it goes into this like rainbed here, and you can see a well over here as well. Yeah, so as you know, if we the water from the road is more polluted, so we don't want to mix those two kind of water because it's harder to get an effective pollution reduction. And when it comes to rain gardens, we have noticed that there are many different aspects that has to be considered, and we are having different, how you say, the demands in each project. The inlets look different in more or less all the projects because sometimes the road it has a high slope, sometimes it's flat, sometimes we can make the inlet wide, sometimes it has to be narrow for different reasons. It also can be difficult to actually secure the 10 millimeters on the top of the planter when we don't have enough space in a quite narrow road section. We have realized that there are many different substrates and soils on the market, and they have different characteristics that brings other issues when it comes to choosing vegetation or infiltration rate or things like that. And we have also seen, we have done some measures, and we have seen that those substrates that are sold as rainbed substrates on the market has a tendency to leak a lot of nitrogen and phosphorus during the early stage. So we have seen that there are much more nutrients available that the trees and the vegetation can take up, which means that we have a goal that the stormwater has to be treated from phosphorus, for instance, but then we drain out quite large amounts of phosphorus to the stormwater system when filtrating stormwater through the planter. So that is one big issue. You also have to consider erosion protection, check dams to increase the detention volume if the road is slope. You need bypass functions. You need to be aware about the characteristics of the surrounding soil whether the water can percolate. Sometimes we can percolate, but we don't want to because we have polluted soils, for instance. So yeah, there are many different aspects to consider whether it should be a closed system or if we should be able to infiltrate the water to the groundwater. And this is how a progress can look like from construction stage through planting and until we get a fully grown up facility. And this is one of our main roads through Nacka with very high traffic intensity. And here you have a section of the grid covered rainbeds. Here you can see that we have there is quite a good volume available because the sand filter is quite low and we have covered it with the grids so you can't see the sediment or rubbish and stuff that are being drained here compared to the open rainbeds. We can see the airing well where we drain the sidewalk and bypass and the water is drained out to the surrounding structural soil. You can see the inlet over here. In this project, we had drainage pipes. We had check dams on the bottom of the structural soil because it was quite a slopey road. And then we have this sand filter lying on a couple of layers of macadam that can be easily be switched. And this is how the grid covered rainbed looks like. So we have the tree placed on one of the sides, and that is because we want to have, we need this whole detention volume in this box. And then we have like those openings so the roots from the trees can go out to the surrounding soil. And here are some examples that we have built. A comparison between those two is that here is one of our first projects. As you can see, we don't have the tree in the road level. The tree is like below tree level, so that we get the detention volume and as you can see, the crown is very low, and we wish to like lift the crown up. So the result became that we put the tree on one of the ends of the rainbed. So we have also done a journey during the last 5-6 years to develop those and create those better adapted for our needs. And we think that the grid covered rainbeds are our favorite so far when it comes to urban design aspects, like we want people to be able to move across the furniture zone without stepping on vegetation. And we call this section the furnishing or furniture zone, and that's because we also have like benches and bike parkings and other things. And another benefit with those grid covered rainbeds is that they can be made much deeper than the open ones, so we can store a larger amount of volume, and which can be difficult to achieve when we have a very narrow nature zone, and we have many other I would say other function that need space, like pipes, racks, benches, roadsides, lightnings. Yeah. We have also noticed that those are much more salt resistant than the open rain beds, where we can see some damages. And our operation and maintenance personnel also really loves them because they can put the snow in the furniture zone. That was a hard word, sorry. And there is no need for like lifting out the snow and transporting it to another place. It can lay down here during the whole season and drain down to the rain beds. We have also seen that it's an easier sediment. It's easier to remove the sediment. You just lift off the grid and you can more or less vacuum clean the sand filter. We have also seen that we still, after a couple of years, we still have very good infiltration rate, infiltration capacity, which means that we don't have to exchange the sand filter yet. And those rain beds that has another type of soil, they clogs much faster because they are quite dense from the beginning. Here is also easier to replace the filter material when needed because we don't have the vegetation to consider. We have almost no weed in those facilities, and there is no need for replanting or replacing the vegetation. And it looks less rubbishy during the winter months because you, as we say, you can't see the shit. And every year we have a very nice operation and maintenance event with our personnel in Nacka. And this is because we want to create engagement around rain gardens and spread knowledge. During those events, we measure the growth of the sediment. We also do the infiltration tests, and then we also remove the sediment and take sediment samples for analysis. And this is because this technique is new for us. We don't have a lot of experience from it, so we are trying to collect data to better understand how they are working and what do we have to think about to make them work in the long term. And here we can see how the salt has affected the open rain beds during the winter. Near the curb here, you can see the vegetation has died, the vegetation that has been planted. There actually been some natural seeds being rooted here and have started growing. So it will be interesting to see what can actually grow here. What we also can see is that the trees are doing very well during the spring, but during the late summer, you can see damages on the leaves, which we cannot in the grid-covered rain beds. So that is something we are discussing in-house. Do we have to use such large amount of salt for the icing? Can we use another type of salt? Can we find another types of vegetation? Because those that were chosen for this facility are already plants that can live in dry conditions and that should be at least a little tolerant to salt. So we did some measurements. We can see that we have an accumulation of natrium in this section compared if we do samples nearest the bike path here. So some short lessons learned. Designing rain beds can be very complicated, but it's also a lot of fun. You can be creative, you work together with your colleagues, you develop new details, I would say. Yeah, in urban environment, there also has to be many different interests has to be weighted together. So it's not like I getting my whole wish list during the design process, but together with the other areas of technologies, we try to find the best solution in a bigger and holistic perspective, I would say. You really have to have the multidisciplinary approach, close collaboration and communication between landscape architects, I don't know, traffic planners, constructors, lighting engineer, and so on. And you need to collaborate from early planning through the whole detailed design process. And also an understanding for blue and green infrastructure and why we built them is crucial for an effective and long-term successful maintenance. So engage your operation and maintenance personnel. Thank you. I will stop here.
Thanks a lot. That was great, especially also getting into the challenges, and yeah, that's great for the Q&A as well afterwards. So now we go to Frederik, but maybe in between there were some questions in the chat. Shall we just do one? And as agreed, we're going to do most of the questions afterwards. But maybe the macadam is a question of Jennifer. What kind of substrate is it actually?
Macadam is just bedrock that has been crossed. How you say krossad?
Crushed.
Crashed. Thank you. That has
you have
been
it on
crashed.
the picture there.
Oh yeah, you see it here. Yeah,
down.
Quite. Yeah,
right.
The gray
and
granulate.
It has a fraction between 90 to 150 millimeters, and then we put the macadam in first one layer of macadam, then we put out soil that we flush with water so it fills out the gaps between the macadam, and then we put another layer of macadam and put soil and drain it down. So, and that type of construction is very stable because it's like a road body, so you can drive with heavy traffic on it, which makes that the soil is not compacted and the roots can develop well.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for that. Okay. Then we save the rest of the questions for later. Then we go to you, Frederik.
Yes, thank you. Let's see how this works. Oh, first share screen and then.
And then, yeah, we get your email now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe. Good. Oh, now you have two pictures, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
We could do it like that, but yeah. Bye, Ilko.
I can do it also better like this.
Yeah.
Okay, now?
Looks good.
Perfect.
Looks good. Yes, I'm Fredrik Olsen, working at Sweco. It's a consultant company. I worked with Agatha before. We were colleagues. I work with stormwater cleaning and climate adaptation, mostly now detail design, because I realized I'm going to retire in 15 years, so I need to do some projects now to see something real, not only investigating. So I'm focusing on detail design, and half of my time I'm also focusing on being a local politician. So that's I never thought that before, but I was into the politics, and I am now like a vice mayor of a municipality suburb of Stockholm. So it's a very odd combination, but it's very nice. I try to implement it the political way too. Well, let's see the next picture. I work in Stockholm mostly with my projects, and this is how it worked before. It was nice for the water just going in the blue. You can see the blue ditch. And then we started to develop Stockholm, and the blue dish is still there in the red circle. But we forgot how the water flows, so we just put it into the pipes. So that's the problem. So now we are lifting the water. I just wanted to show you that to remember what we are doing. This is the Royal Seaport. It's a rainbed of Stockholm. So I'm going to show you a lot of pictures from Stockholm, different projects. Mostly the Sweco has been involved, but also some others. This is full with macadam. And the recipe that's used until now in Stockholm is 70% macadam or sand, more or less 15% of biochar, as a carbon, and 15% compost or some humus. And that's the soil that can breathe and can receive water. And we also have often a lining in the bottom. Before it was to protect from the soil that is polluted, but now it's to store the water because it's a lot of dryness now going on. And I have a film. Maybe you see this on LinkedIn, some of you. I think Thomas have seen it. This is how it looks like after 50 millimeter rain. 50. It's still working very fine. And in Stockholm, we have a design criteria of 20 millimeter. But I think it's the same as Nacka, because we can allow ourselves to have 10 millimeters slipping away. And then you have 10 minutes, 10 millimeter, and 10 millimeters can slip away. I mean, infiltrate. Yeah, at least my calculations looks like that. Sorry about that. But this is another rain garden in Stockholm. I also have a film of that one. And it's very tricky. So it was slipping into the road body. So we developed the one at the new inlet. We are trying that now, the on the bottom right. With a pattern that is the Stockholm official pattern of stormwater inlets, the waves. It's interesting. If it works, it will be a success. But if it doesn't work, we will find another pattern. I hope it works. This is on its way now to be implemented. Okay, this is how it looks like in the most of the cities in Sweden and in Europe. Asphalt is always a space for some asphalt around the trees. And as Agatha, this is the way Stockholm do it. We do the same as Nacka. We invented the wheel the same time, I think. But we also some people going from Nacka to Stockholm and the vice versa. And so this is the Stockholm way. The blue is the inlet under. And we also have this invention that is used with this in Stockholm is that we have a lot of impermeable area, but we just make a hole to the macadam layer with a stone under the pavement. And then the water can enter here. It works really well and is implemented everywhere in the city. And okay, I have another film, how it looks like when it's coming water in... oh, maybe this was... It's coming... This is how it works in Nacka. But this is in Stockholm. It's the same. It just goes through a pipe and coming out. This is very small, but it seems to work also with small boxes. And you see, this is the inner city place in Stockholm. And we have another extra. This is for the trees, and this is for the pipe system. There's a redundancy. And it looks also like this in the inner city of Stockholm now. We have parks that takes a lot of stormwater using the slope to the park. A lot of invention of how to get the water. That's the tricky part, how to get the water into this and to get a good cleaning. And Thomas promised you no wadis, but I will show you wadi. This is water in the Royal Seaport. Just to show how this macadam soil really just infiltrates and filtrates very good, because here is the pipe outlet, but it was no water. And this was 50 millimeter rain, and the Baltic Sea was then cleaned. And another project before looked like this, and after we digged 12 holes. And we tried it the same day when it was 50 millimeter rain. This was 40 millimeter because I filmed this before Stockholm. It's the south of Stockholm. We have removed the pipe from the cellars just out here. And it stores very much rain. Before it was on the ground, now it's in the ground. And it's beautiful. Problem here is sand, and we also use pumice, and it really grows too much. Pumice is a volcanic ash from Iceland, so it's not so local. But it grows too good here, so the weeds love here. So yeah, I will go. I was there 1 year ago. It was establishing a lot of weeds, but maybe it's better now. About maintenance, we consultant, we go there, but we are not allowed to be consultant during the phase. As Agatha, she can work also as in the municipality to check how it works. We do some projects and then we are bye to us. So we have to go there and establish ourselves. Hello, I'm back. How is it going? For free. Okay, this is courtyards in Stockholm. Very easy actually to take water and to infiltrate it if you just keep some trees and make a good elevation. And some problems. This on the right is the problem I see everywhere. It's that you have the roof and you have the rain garden, but you don't have the knowledge to connect. What you call stuprör? Yeah, you don't connect it to. You connect it to the drainage. Downspout. Don't connect it to the rain garden, and I don't know why. But I'm going like a police around, telling people. And here is a lot of yeah. Of course, when you take the water, you also get the rubbish. I will mention also the concrete slab that takes a lot of space, and I want to give you some. We have an invention. I have not tried it, but it's found on LinkedIn. It's called the Anders Ljunghage Lockstone, And I think it could be interesting to try. You have you see on this one you have a lot of concrete taking the space. On the right you don't have any concrete, but you have a metal stuff that you drill in the asphalt and then put some asphalt above it. So this will be tried for sure. And I will finish with some projects, the latest projects we have that is about to be inaugurated in the coming weeks. And this is in this inner city of Stockholm, where we are trying to do some water bubbles because we want to avoid heavy flooding downstream. So then we store the water upstream in the catchment area in the existing city. And that's why we have to not only do some ugly stuff, we have to do very, very beautiful stuff. So we get finance. So we do a better park or a better square. So this was the idea of this green catchment area to store the water under and also make it so here we do some storage under, filled with stone or filled with the cassette, for the plastic cassette with a lot of space. And it looks like this with the entrance of the water, communication here with the other system, and also a lot of the red is inlets, a lot of inlets going together. Very complicated. When you don't do a rain garden, it gets very complicated. That's what we know. If you do an open solution, it's much more easy to construct. But this is for also, as Agatha mentioned, this is better for the maintenance. It looks like this under. And another, let's make a wadi here. Another catchment just beside. Here we do one, and here we do another. And here we use these new inlets to take the water from the road into the wadi. And to make it very, very beautiful, to look like a creation of looks like all the inner city of Stockholm, to adapt it to that architecture. It's so we use the inlets and also communication of water body. The water here communicates here at the left, communicates with this one. So we have actually 4 different inlets. Looks like this has been a bit developed. We have an inauguration on Monday to check it. I mean, investigation, and we have a lot of routes. So in existing areas, problematic, but we have a lot of routes and a lot of pipes. Just wanted to show some pictures of this, and yeah, that was my last picture.
Nice, thanks a lot. Yeah, very interesting also, especially with the videos and also the challenges. So that's great. We have about 10 minutes for questions. So maybe if you can stop sharing, Frederik,
Yes.
then we can see all the faces. And you already get an applause. I'm not sure if you saw that, but and some questions in the chat. But this is the moment that Sydney and me will open the floor for any questions. Or shall we start? Sydney, I'm sure you have a question to break open the floor.
Yeah, well, I usually have, but unfortunately I have to go a bit early today.
Okay,
so
no
it will
worries.
be
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
So are there no questions from anyone else?
Yeah, Thomas.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, I have one question for Agatha and maybe Frederik as well. One of your first slides, Agatha, you showed the standards that need to be followed. But who decides what standards need to be followed? Is it what you do together, or is it politics, or how do you come up with?
I said we should have this guideline, and then we wrote a nice document. We anchored it in the organization, and then it became for real. So it haven't been taken in any political organization, but we use it when we write agreements with developers that they have to follow this. And we also, when we do the planning, like the urban planning, then we also do the calculations to secure what spaces we need. So a master plan can follow this guideline as well.
Okay, so it's now policy to do it your way.
Yeah, exactly, more or less.
Yeah.
I can add. It's also about coming from the EU Water Framework Directive that is implemented very hard in Sweden. We cannot deteriorate any water bodies, and we must improve them. And then they realized, the only way is to have infiltration in the soil, not ponds. You have to have some infiltration, right? And then they see that if we have 10 millimeter, we have 90% of the annual precipitation. Then we clean so much, and then so that's the way, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Thomas looks satisfied, so we go to Lars.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sitting in the car. That's the reason I have the camera off.
Be safe.
But
Yeah.
you talked about a stand filter that you have to clean. But at what frequency you have to clean it? Or is it standard every year?
Yeah, and that is why we're doing the yearly measurements and we have those events. And we have been using those filters for 3 or 4 years now. And we still see that they have a good infiltration rate. So we have decided not to change the filter material yet. So we will continue following up and measuring them. We look into especially 2 facilities, one that has a quite large catchment area and one that has a smaller catchment area. And we see quite big differences in infiltration rates and how it's changed over time. But as long as we have over, 200, 300 millimeters per hour, there is no need to make the change. So we'll see. Maybe I can come back in 2-3 years when I have the answer.
And I would like to add, it's more when you have the traffic. When the area I show is very, very little traffic, then we never will have to change the filter. We will have the roots and the vegetation making it a natural infiltration body. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. Yes, to let the nature do the job for us. That's a difference when it's traffic or not.
Yeah, that was my next question indeed. Perfect, thank you.
Right, then Thomas was first.
In relation to biodiversity, you saw the tree boxes, the grid-covered tree boxes. It's just steel, and no plants like behind you on the picture, Agatha. And are there discussions about what to plant there, and when do you make plants or flowers, and when do you make grid covers? Because a city has to look nice. I've been to the Royal Seaport, and the rain gardens are basically covered with flowers and plants. So is there a discussion about when to do what measure?
I would say that the available space in the road section is the aspect that make us make the decision, because when we have a very narrow space, a lot of pipes, a lot of technical infrastructure in the road, then we can't have 3 meters wide rain garden. Of course, we would love that, but when we do those large redevelopment projects in existing environments, there are so many other things to consider. So it's actually no space. Now we are building further on the same road. So we have like 5 different types of solutions depending on how the section look like along this 3 kilometers long road. So we have had different issues in different stages of the project. But of course, we would prefer the open, more green ones. But it also depends on how many people are spending their time on this place. Are they just passing by, or is it central near a train station, or is it more like there is no end spot in this area where people will go to, so there is no need to make it very attractive and landscaped?
Nice. Shall we go to dinner?
Yeah, is there any
Yeah.
use of sensors? Are you putting sensors, is for both of you, into the rain garden? So is there any access for the data that you can pick up with sensors for water or the air, or, and are you using it?
Not
No,
we know, no, but we would like. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
have been thinking about that in what way could we use sensors to collect data, and
Yeah.
how could we use it to improve the facilities? But
Yeah.
we are not there yet, I would say. We are
Okay.
putting sensors in other places, but not
Mhm.
in the rain gardens.
And also not in green rooftops. Are there already sensors in green rooftops? We are using it, so if you want to, we can share this thought and maybe data. But yeah, it's very helpful. It's very helpful. Yeah.
Oh, it would be
We are
very
very interested.
interesting
Yes.
to
Yeah.
get some information about that. So
Yeah.
if you could share some knowledge, we would
Yeah.
be thankful.
Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
Frederik, I saw when I was in Stockholm in
Yeah.
I think it Jaktkatan.
Mhm.
It's a very wide rain garden, and there was a pole with a sensor with a QR code, and it told me they measured humidity in the soil and
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
something. So I don't know if it's a city project or.
Yeah,
I
it can
still
be
have the picture.
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes there are some like thesis works, and they do some testing. So maybe
Yeah.
it was that.
I
You
think so.
can, if you have some information, I'm also interested.
I think I have the
Yeah.
picture somewhere, but I'll send it
Yeah,
to you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and from a lot of universities, I was at a defense in Lille, for example. He was here actually as well, Robert Vuren. He did a lot of testing throughout Sweden, also the USA. Moist sensors, also the water height, and also air
Yeah.
quality. Those kind of things are being measured.
Yeah.
But it's a big challenge, of course. We have to know what
Yeah.
we want out of that research, and what kind of equipment and calibration, and so you get in. Yeah, would be good, I think, to exchange that knowledge from dinner as well. And I will share that PhD dissertation of Robert. He was in the ClimateCafe a couple of weeks ago as well.
I can say that one very easy sensor is just to go out and look and have some film when it rains. It is very helping.
And very practical, and it gives a lot of views on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
And is there a reason why there's always been chosen for? I see a lot of hard materials, so concrete materials for the design units for the whole rain garden. So this is just only, I don't see that many plastic. So it's just some foils, but the units are all from concrete or heavy materials. And I think it's like half of the Netherlands is challenging in using heavy weights for rain gardens. And are there guidelines, or is it just Yeah, I'm curious.
Why we use concrete and stone around the rain gardens? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I say because of design, but mainly because of the snow that you have a plug, that you have to remove the snow and you need to go towards something. Right, Agatha? I think that's the Stockholm. Yeah. We need. How do you do with the snow? Is the
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we
makes sense.
also, and those machines that are taking the snow away are very, very heavy. So those facilities would be broken down if we didn't use. So we did have people calculating on how thick and materials we should use. But of course, if we can, if we have a lot of space, of course we can make more simple, just shallow, like ditches with grass with just a curb around, and not make it so complicated. But when we are in this dense urban environment, it becomes very complicated very fast.
Because a lot of cars tend to go, if you don't have any curb, they just drive there on the grass. So that's the problem. Even in the summer, just driving there, because it's
it makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Possible.
Nice. So we're slowly wrapping up. Last hand of Thomas.
Yeah, maybe you have some tips for us, Frederik Agatha. Floris and I will be traveling to London, in the London city, but the greater surroundings of London. And we do a 4-day trip, mainly to view, rain gardens, rain beds in the city. And what do we need to find out? Do you have some tips? What are there things we have to look at, or just some tips for our visit? How it's constructed, or the plants, or the inlets?
I would like to have a list of salt-tolerant plants that actually works in rain beds. We have done some research, but even if we tried the recommended, the recommended plants, they don't survive.
I don't know if they have a lot of salt.
I think it's interesting to talk about the whole design process, how to get there, and operation and maintenance. I think operation and maintenance will be a key factor in the long term, because if those facilities look shitty over time, we won't be able to continue building them in our cities, because it will probably become a question for politicians.
Yeah. How to keep them nice and working.
Yeah.
Right. I am always interested in the inlets, of course, how it works.
All right.
And if they have some protection of the plan of the rain gardens with some nice fences, maybe. Are they using wood?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see, and I will fill you up with all the details somewhere in September.
Yeah, sounds good.
Great, sounds good.
And we are now during this autumn. We're now building, and during the autumn, some parts of one of our roads should be finished, and then there we have tried many different types of inlets. So it will also be interesting to evaluate those, because we have seen that some of them doesn't work. So we have developed new products to complement the not working product. So it will be very interesting to see when it's finished.
So you will be back next year with some some update. Yeah.
And I just want to finish that I have now faced a real problem. Stockholm City, they are now trying to invent a very, very strange inlet. That is the nightmare of inlets. But I will now try to to stop it.
A nightmare.
I
of
cannot.
inlet.
It takes 10 minutes to explain it, but it's a very, very strange inlet. Very, very work against the water flow, not with the water flow. Using
Sounds like a very good cliffhanger for
yeah,
a next
for the next
episode to
time.
do only about inlets.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of research about inlets and how the water actually diverts from the rain garden, and that might be a good topic. And I think as well, what we talked about, the differences between countries. Sweden, they're quite engineered. Of course, you have slopes. We don't have any hills, so we don't have check dams. You have very different, the macadam, or it's quite a lot of difference. And of course, the snow is quite the de-icing. That's not really an issue in the Netherlands. So it's really nice to see those differences. And also when we're going to London and the UK and other countries, especially the inlets, that could be a very great topic to for next time. So indeed, I still had a lot of questions, but maybe the inlets, but also maybe the monitoring, as Dinah talking about. You do infiltration test. Maybe next time we can also elaborate a bit on the results and see what that is. But probably we should close off now. So thanks, Frederik and Agatha. You already
Thanks
got
so much.
a lot of
You're
applause.
welcome.
And
You're
also
welcome.
thanks to Thomas for the suggestion. If there are any other people that want some other speakers about the topic, we have 2 new ones, the monitoring maybe in the inlets. So that would be great to keep that going. For people next week, we're going to do it in Dutch. It's about groen-blauwe netwerken in steden. So green-blue measures in cities. We're going to do 4 regions in the Netherlands with livability, climate adaptation, health, and biodiversity as big themes in some of the cities in the Netherlands. So I really hope that you join us for the next 4 episodes, and then it's already a holiday because that's coming. So I would say thanks again, everyone,
Thanks.
and hopefully see you next week.
And tomorrow you'll be
Thanks
on
you.
YouTube, and it goes all over the world. So you'll be famous.
Thank you so much for today, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Talk
going
to
to
you
study
soon.
Dutch.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can
Thank
help
you.
out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, friends.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.